Good evening, you are tuning in to AWANI Tonight with me, Cynthia Ng. Government fully prepared for the eventuality of facing a new wave of infections following the Malacca state election. And Tok Mat explains why an early GE is needed. That's coming up. A huge cloud of black smoke rose over the Kuala Lumpur skyline earlier this evening, alarming the public across the capital city. The Transportation Management Centre under Kuala Lumpur City Hall announced in a tweet that a used car parts shop near the Duke exit heading towards Selayang had caught fire at around 5:50 p.m. No casualties were reported. The fire caused traffic congestion from Jalan Lok Yew to Jalan Kuching. Police and firefighters are at the scene to manage the situation. The government should seek a fresh mandate from the people so that the politicking can stop and the focus can shift to the people's well-being. This was the explanation given by UMNO Deputy President Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan when asked about the need for a general elections to be carried out soon.
Memang saya orang kata bila bercakap tu memang saya mahu menyampaikan suatu mesej kepada semua bahawa kerajaan sedia ada ini perlu mendapatkan mandat semula daripada rakyat. Ya. Kerana jika kerajaan sebegini yang mana pengamal demokrasi terutamanya negara-negara barat, dia susah nak mengiktiraf kerajaan yang ada di negara kita ini. Kerajaan yang bukannya mendapat mandat daripada pemilihan rakyat pada pilihan raya ke-2018 dulu, dan bertukar tangan dah banyak kali. Jadi bagi saya adalah lebih baik kita once for all supaya kita pulangkan semula mandat kepada rakyat seperti apa yang berlaku di Melaka, supaya rakyat pilihlah. Ya. Supaya kita senang, tak perlu sangat orang kata berhujah pasal politik pagi petang siang malam. Akhirnya kesejahteraan rakyat terbiar. Tak dapat kita nak tumpukan sepenuh masa.
There are no death cases that can be directly linked to COVID-19 vaccines in the country. Deputy Health Minister Dato' Aaron Dagang said investigations into 535 deaths over the last year found that they were not due to adverse side effects of the vaccines. The findings were based on 21,136 complaints lodged by vaccine recipients suffering adverse effects since the rollout of the National COVID-19 Immunization Program on February 24th up to November 20th. Argo said this in the Dewan Rakyat to a question from Sungai Buloh MP R. Sivarasa on the outcome of the Health Ministry's monitoring of COVID-19 vaccine recipients, including the death cases and negative effects linked to the vaccines given. The government is prepared to face the eventuality of a fourth wave of COVID-19 infection in the country following the Malacca state election last Saturday. Deputy Health Minister Dato' Aaron Dagang said the effects of the COVID infection could only be detected after 10 to 14 days.
Kita sedang monitor keadaan ini. Kerajaan memang tahu dan kita pun telah bersiap sedia untuk menghadapi yang kemungkinan akan jadi dan gelombang keempat mungkin akan berlaku di negara kita ini. Ini yang kita khawatir dan pilihan di Sarawak pun kita akan mengadakan SOP yang begitu yang akan dapat mengekang penularan COVID ini dengan SOP yang begitu ketat.
He was responding to a question from Bandar Kuching MP Kelvin Yee on preparations by the government to face the eventuality of an increase in COVID-19 cases in Malacca following the state elections.
Experts have called for extra vigilance as signs point to a new COVID-19 wave. Can we stem the tide before it is too late? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to our guests about taking prudent early measures. Authorities in Malaysia and Singapore conducted a dry run for the opening of the Land Vaccinated Travel Lane or VTL. Johor Menteri Besar Datuk Hasni Mohamad had earlier said that the land border will open on November 29th. The same day, the air VTL between KLIA and Changi Airport is scheduled to start. Some 1,440 travellers were expected to use the Johor Causeway and the second link in the first week of its implementation. This is according to Hasni on Sunday. He added that the number of people using the lane was expected to rise to 2,500 in the second week and 5,000 the following week. The VTL is for vaccinated travellers, prioritising long-term visa holders and families that have been long separated since the start of COVID-19. More than 100,000 Malaysians are estimated to be stuck in Singapore since the borders were closed. More than 1,000 nomination forms for the coming 12th Sarawak election have been purchased as of yesterday. In a report by the Borneo Post, it said that demand for the forms started when the proclamation of emergency for Sarawak was lifted on November 3rd.
As of Monday, a total of 1,021 nomination forms in Sarawak have been sold. The forms are available for purchase at 20 ringgit each until the day of nomination. The EC is expected to announce the date of Sarawak's state election after a special meeting chaired by its chairman, Dato' Abdul Ghani Saleh in Kuching, scheduled at 11 a.m.
The number of working hours lost due to the COVID-19 crisis is much higher than projected earlier. According to the International Labour Organization ILO, the labour market recovery from the pandemic shock has stalled this year. But with rapid vaccination and fiscal stimulus, the situation can improve. We speak to ILO's senior economist Christian Vigelen to discuss more.
We at the ILO, we estimate that actually in 2020, 7.9% of working hours were lost compared to before the crisis. And still in 2021, we also still see or estimate that working hours declined by 7.3%. And just to give you an idea, this corresponds roughly to the working time of about 20 to 22 million full-time workers.
Christian observed that high-income countries with good vaccination program and large fiscal stimulus are able to move forward quicker. Middle and lower-income countries are encouraged to invest in these two initiatives to aid in labour market recovery.
We do see that in countries that have done very rapid or relatively good vaccination progress, actually these countries, the governments were able to open up their economies sooner on average. And this has led to actually less working hour losses in these countries. And here I'm talking mainly about high-income countries that on average have made the fastest progress in vaccinations. We do estimate that actually for 14 fully vaccinated people in the second quarter of 2021, actually one full-time job was added to the labor market on average globally. And then on the second aspect, this is the fiscal stimulus packages. Also, so here we do see that, mainly high-income countries have been able to put in place relatively large fiscal stimulus packages to support their economies, to support enterprises and workers. And we do see that actually these packages, they did make a difference. So these countries have on average experienced less working hour losses. So this really shows that these factors are really important also moving forward.
Christian emphasized the need for governments to invest in better social protection to support workers.
So especially in this pandemic, I think worldwide governments have seen, and is also in this region, that social protection is key to basically support workers and also to make sure that they can bear this kind of economic crisis. So social protection is a very important factor for increased resilience.
We will go for a quick break. Stay with us.
Untuk kebaikan keluarga, Breeze Triple Boost teknologi baharu berkesan membasmi virus, membersihkan kotoran degil, menjadikan pakaian segar dan wangi dengan formula mesra alam. Breeze kini dalam pak isi semula besar.
Agenda Nasional Malaysia Sihat ANMS bermatlamat menjadikan rakyat Malaysia sihat sejahtera. Kebersihan persekitaran adalah penting ke arah kelestarian alam sekitar. Kita bertanggungjawab ke atas persekitaran bersih dan selesa yang menyokong kesihatan. Kebersihan tanggungjawab semua. Jaga kebersihan persekitaran untuk kesejahteraan kesihatan. Agenda Nasional Malaysia Sihat, sihat sepanjang hayat.
Mak, okey ke ni? Lepas Mak minum teh, okeylah nanti. Pergilah, nanti lambat pula. Mak, cuba ambil ni. Tapi, ini akan berada di dalam badan lama. Saya betul-betul nak Mak sihat. Cuba tengok ni.
Panadol Optizorb tidak mengganggu perut dan disingkirkan dari badan anda secara semula jadi.
Berkesan pada kesakitan tanpa mengganggu perut. Jaga diri dengan Panadol.
Lupakan penulen udara lama. Hello Virus Fit. Bukan sekadar menapis habuk dan debu, tapi menghapuskan virus bawaan udara dengan All Clean.
Elakkan virus. Hello Magic. SK Magic.
When the world was changing for photographic film, we helped change the world as a pioneer of the digital age. In healthcare, we're expanding what's possible with advanced technology. But why stop there when we can focus our AI and IoT expertise on business innovation, helping tackle some of the toughest challenges in the workplace? When it comes to innovating for a healthier world and a more sustainable society, we'll never stop. Fujifilm, value from innovation.
Welcome back. The man accused of deliberately driving his car into a Christmas parade in Wisconsin, US, was just out on bail from a domestic abuse case. 39-year-old Darrell Brooks was arrested near the scene on Sunday. He faces 5 counts of first-degree murder. The 5 people killed were between 52 and 81 years old. 48 others were injured, including 6 children who remain in critical condition. Police said Brooks may face further charges upon investigation. However, they believe that the incident was not an act of terrorism. The U.S. has no plans to implement a lockdown to curb COVID-19 cases. The White House said the government would rely on vaccines and other treatments to keep the country running in the event of another devastating COVID wave. The comments from White House COVID-19 response coordinator Jeff Zients came as Austria enters its 4th nationwide lockdown, while the Netherlands institute a partial lockdown amid a COVID surge rampaging across Europe in recent weeks. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has also advised against travel to Germany and Denmark due to COVID resurgence in both the countries, and that anyone who must travel should be fully vaccinated first. The current 7-day average of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. rose 18% from last week's average to 92,800 cases per day. Meanwhile, Germany's health minister has called on further restrictions to contain a dramatic surge in COVID cases as the country's infection rate hit a record high. Jens Spahn urged for more public places to be restricted to people in a bid to contain Germany's 4th wave.
Spahn did not rule out lockdowns, although he said this would be decided region by region. With ICU beds swiftly filling up, Germany's worst-hit regions have ordered new shutdowns, including the closure of Christmas markets. Europe's return to the pandemic's epicenter has been blamed on a sluggish vaccine uptake in some nations, the highly contagious Delta variant, and colder weather moving people indoors again. In Germany, the EU's most populous nation, just 68% of the population is fully jabbed.
At least 45 people were killed when a bus caught fire on a highway in western Bulgaria today. Officials said 12 children had been on board the vehicle, but it was not immediately clear if any of them had survived.
The bus carrying North Macedonian tourists crashed in flames hours before daybreak. The cause of the crash was still unclear. Officials said the bus appeared to have hit a highway barrier, but they are unsure if it caught fire first before crashing or vice versa. Bulgaria Interior Ministry said the accident was the deadliest of its kind in the country's history.
4 people died after a dormitory building for workers collapsed in the southern Chinese province of Jiangxi. The cause of the collapse is still under investigation. Photos and videos showed rescue crews searching through a pile of rubble under floodlights. The building housed workers of a pharmaceutical plant, mostly the elderly. It was constructed in 1995, mainly out of prefabricated slabs and considered to be of poor quality. China has sought to improve construction quality and industrial safety with the threat of prosecution, but accidents still occur as companies cut corners to save costs. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro AWANI app. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching.